Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father, and as always, I'm bringing you guys awesome interviews. And today it is an honor and privilege to have Mr. Michael Sweet back on the show. He is the lead vocalist of Stryper. We're going to be talking to him about the 30th anniversary of the release of To Hell with the Devil, and plus their tour. Plus, this is pretty cool if you like Stryper as well. He has his own album that's out right now, his solo album called One-Sided War. So, Michael, glad to have you back on, my friend.
Hey, great to be back on. Thank you for having me.
You know, like I said, I got to see you guys play the Forum in Hazard, I guess 2 weeks ago, maybe three, on the 5th of this month.
The time starts getting a little blurred out here, man, when you're traveling.
Now, that's your second time coming back to the mountains of Eastern Kentucky, and I just got to say, first off, thank you as a fan for doing that, because we don't get a whole lot of great shows in here, but thank you guys. And for anybody that's not got to see you on this tour or any tour, it was an amazing, amazing tour, and you guys can still shred, man.
Well, thank you, man. We have fun. We enjoy it. We like going out and giving our all, no matter what the circumstances may be, and we just enjoy what we do, man. We love it. We're still very, very passionate about what we do.
What brings you guys back to the hills and hollers of Eastern Kentucky to give us a great show, man?
Well, it had been a long time since we had come back and we performed there. I did a solo thing last year, and then Stryper came back and did a show. Unfortunately, I was sick. I couldn't sing. We did a show in June, I believe it was, and then we just came back just a few weeks ago. I was able to sing, and we did this new To Hell with the Devil tour, and the album in its entirety. And we enjoy going wherever we can, man. And it really saddens us when there are certain areas of the country that we can't get to, and sometimes we haven't been to in 20, 25, 30 years. So that area of Kentucky obviously was one of them. We hadn't been there in a long, long time before June, and to be able to come back twice in the same year is pretty cool.
Yeah, and we got to get a Starbucks in here for you to get you to move here.
Oh yeah, then I might move there.
I saw that on the news,
Never
and
know.
I was like, that's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So, much respect to you, my friend.
Thanks, man.
So, looking back on the release of To Hell with the Devil, how special is this album to you guys? And did you ever think you would be on a 30-year anniversary tour after release of this album?
We really didn't. I mean, we never gave that any thought. And then once the time started coming around, 30 years after the fact, I mean, we started thinking, well, we got to do something special here because it's our biggest album. Our most celebrated album, and we decided to put together this tour and put on the original outfits, just to kind of make people feel, at least to some degree, as though they're taking a journey back to 1980, 86 all over again.
Mm-hmm. How was working with producer, and I hope I got this correct, Stephen Galfus on this album? How was working with him, if you could recall?
Yeah, Stephen Gelfast. It was inexperience. I mean, we hired him, and he wasn't originally supposed to be the producer, but we wound up kind of going out on a limb and taking a chance and hiring him. And obviously things worked out because the album wound up sounding fantastic and, being probably our best album to date, certainly in terms of popularity. So, it worked out. It worked out, and it was an experience. I'll leave it at that. There were some interesting times throughout the making of that album, and I get into those in my book. But yeah, hey, we did it, and he did a great job. So
when you guys kind of broke away and you came back together and formed, plus gave your life to the Lord and all that stuff, how much more powerful did this band become going forward?
Oh gosh. I think, our heyday obviously was 86, 7, 8, and 9. And during that time, it just kept building and building and building. Well, by the time we got to the In God We Trust tour and album in 88 and 89, I mean, we were headlining arenas and packing them out. And it was just an incredible time. And obviously we have those memories to hold on to forever, but, massive production and 3 bus, 3 semi tours and big crews and it was just an incredible time for young guys. We were still relatively young back then. You know, I was in '86. I was 23. So, you know, we were kids, just kind of taking it all in awe. And, you know, even though things aren't on that grand scale in terms of numbers nowadays, it's still just as exciting. I mean, we go out and we have a great time doing what we do. We play clubs and small theaters, but we enjoy it. So it almost, in some ways, feels like yesteryear, as odd as that may sound. It really does.
I have a lot of conversations with a lot of metal people, plus I cover horror, punk, stuff like that. But for some reason in the metal, you guys always keep coming up, and I think that's awesome. So how does that make you guys feel, being included in the metal music with the big names that are out there today and that are still playing, and plus still back in the day?
It's always humbling and amazing. I mean, it doesn't feel right sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when our name is included in with some of these other bands, but it is. And Stryper certainly made their mark, music history, you know, and we're part of that. And some incredible things have been done through the band, and tours have been opened that might not have ever been opened. So it really worked out, and it's very humbling to know that we were a part of that.
I'll tell you this right now, when I got to see you guys, it's the first time I ever got to see you guys. I'm a metal man, and just hearing you guys live was just intense. I mean, it's like nothing else. Your voice, spot on, tremendously. Robert's drumming, everybody else, the guitars, bass, just an amazing time, man. Well,
thank you, my friend. Yeah, we go out and give our all, and I think that the band is well oiled right now. You know, where it's like a tuned up car, and we've been doing it for so long. I just think that we've kind of come into our own and, you know, figured out, we've ironed out all the wrinkles, all those silly cliches you can throw in there. We've worked things out, and it's cool, but we still have fun doing it. And I think that's where the intensity comes from, is, you know, we get excited about going out on stage, and that spreads over to the crowd, and there's a real high level of excitement when you see a Stryper show.
I want to get into your solo album, One-Sided War. What's impressed you the most about making that solo album, Michael?
Just the opportunity, as always, to be able to branch out and experiment and try some different things. Mm-hmm. You know, my solo albums have similarities to the Stryper albums, but yet they're different. This album, One-Sided War, was probably the most similar to the Stryper album in terms of the style and staying just on the straight and narrow in terms of hard rock or metal. There's a lot of energy on this album in the musicianship and the songwriting and whatnot. But, you know, I just enjoy playing music, and the songs are always coming out of me. And because of that, I like getting in the studio and recording them and getting them out to the public. And if that means 2 or 3 albums a year, so be it. Lately, that's what it's been over the past 4 or 5 years. It's been a steady flow of music.
Now, I thought this is really cool, and a lot of musicians are doing this now. You produced this album, correct?
I did. I've produced a lot of albums over the past 10 years. I've produced all the Stryper albums.
Okay.
So everything that's come out from Stryper since we reformed, I've produced. I produced the Sweet and Lynch album. I produced the last 2 solo albums. And I'm going to be doing a lot more producing in the near future.
Do you like this side of the music instead of like having somebody else to come in and produce your guys' albums? Does it? And I know initially it gives you more freedom and more time, but do you like this part of it?
Yeah, I don't like someone else coming in and producing, to be honest. I'll tell you why. It's a waste of money. A lot of times it's a headbutt because I already know what I want. I know what I hear in my head better than some producer.
Right.
And, you know, I've been doing this my whole life. I've been in the studio since I was 12 years old. And if I'm working with a great engineer, which I am, Danny Bernini, between the two of us, we know how to get it done. We know how to get the tones. We know how to get, you know, you bring in a third wheel. It's just not necessarily. It just doesn't work these days. Back in the day, in the 80s, it worked. Nowadays, it doesn't. And then you're working on limited budgets. Mm-hmm. You know, if you got $100,000 or whatnot, and you're giving away 25 or 30 of it to a producer, that math doesn't add up to me. You know, when they're not really bringing much more to the table. So I enjoy doing it myself these days. It's much more cost effective, and you get better results.
And plus, you don't have to stress over it either. Like, well, I got to do this by tomorrow or whatever, and it gives you more time.
Exactly, it really does. It's much more low stress. You know, when you have a producer, you're working on his clock, and you're paying him a lot of money, and it adds a tremendous amount of stress. Absolutely.
Any songs off the new solo album that stand out more to you than any, possibly?
Well, there's a few that are definitely my favorites at the moment. I'm really liking Only You. I love the riff on that song. I love Radio. Who Am I? And I love the edgier tracks too. Golden Age is one that I play a lot when I listen to the album. I Am is another one. There's just so many songs on the album there's not a lot of, filler tracks or tracks that you'd want to skip. Mm-hmm. And I'm hearing that from people that are listening and buying the album. So that's a goal of mine, is to always put together an album that's made up of, 10 or 11 great songs, not 2 or 3.
Yeah, exactly. What do you hope when someone gets a chance to listen to either your solo albums or to Stryper albums? What do you hope that they get from that music when they listen to it, Michael?
Well, I hope they're encouraged. I hope their moods are changed for the better. I hope that it inspires them, the music, the message, and puts a smile on their face. It makes them feel better about life and about themselves.
Do you like the way the music is today, the digital era of recording albums plus getting your music out there easily now today? Do you like this time that we're in? Not really. I mean, I'm a fan of old school, buying the entire album, holding it in your hands, reading the liner notes, looking at the pictures, listening to every song, not just downloading one song. I think that's awful, because musicians are hard on iTunes, and the people go out and listen to the songs and buy 1 or 2 or 3 of the songs. Yeah, that's and it's really a bummer, because all that work that was invested is kind of flushed down the drain. There are some people that download the entire album, but not many. When I buy an album off iTunes or Amazon, I buy the whole album. I don't buy just one song, because to me that defeats the purpose of even supporting the band. Yeah, absolutely, and that's a rarity, though. You are one of the few people that do that. Yeah. Most people, the reason why I know that is I see all the numbers in the stats, and that's when it's really sad, because the band works very hard to put together an entire album. Even if the song isn't quite as good as another song, when you're making an album, those B-sides sometimes are the hidden gems of an album. That's true. That is so true. And, because of popularity or whatnot, people go and download the single, the song that had a video to it. That's the one that gets the most downloads. Mm-hmm. And they're missing out on some of the best songs on the album because that's the one that they know about, and they're not listening or giving a chance to the other song. How much of an influence was your dad on you to join Stryper, plus your music career? How much was that, man? Oh, he was huge. I mean, he taught me my first chords and really encouraged me to play and sing and perform. And they were always encouraging, especially my dad. And I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you if it wasn't for him, so definitely a huge influence. I know you guys get this a lot, but what's it mean to you guys when you receive an email from a fan, or prior to the shows or after your shows? They'll come up and tell you still to this day that your music has pulled them through a bad experience, or gave them an inspiration to overcome obstacles, or just made them to relax of the everyday bullcrap that we go through. What's that mean to you guys still to this day? It means a lot. I mean, those are the stories that, inspire us to continue doing what we do, because when you touch someone's life, or, a person who's an alcoholic or a drug addict, and then they're now a pastor, or they got their life together and they're married with kids and running a business and doing really well. And when you see that firsthand, how much the music and message of Stryper has affected in a positive way their lives, it's really inspiring, and it makes us feel incredibly good about what we're doing, obviously. So it's super awesome and important when we get those kinds of messages, either in person or through emails or messages or whatnot. I'd just like to say, as a fan of your guys' music, thank you guys so much for what you do, and continue what you do, my friend. Hey, absolutely, man. And we're going to keep doing it. It's just a matter of when, and taking a little break, and we'll see when we start doing it again, man. How can folks stay in touch with you guys, buy some merchandise? How can they do that, Michael? They can go to Stryper.com to find merchandise and all the latest updates on Stryper. And then for Michael Sweet, obviously, there's michaelsweet.com, and I'm on Facebook and on Twitter as well. And I'm always updating people as much as I can. Before I let you go, good sir, will you care to do a promo for my show? Sure.
Hey, everybody, this is Michael Sweet from Stryper, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great music coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour at Uber City Radio. Thanks, Michael.
Okay, buddy. God bless. Take care.